Hey, everybody, welcome back to another All Things MSP Office Hours edition. Today, we are talking to EasyDmark, and we're going to be talking to Mike Anderson from EasyDmark. Now, I think, because I would just want to get my opinion out there to begin with, email is the equivalent of what telephone was 20 years ago, right? It is a critical piece of any business, whether they're small, large, doesn't matter. Email and email deliverability is critical. It's no longer optional. It's critical today. And there are all kinds of things that are being put in the way of emails being delivered. And so that's what we want to talk about today. We want to talk about how EasyDmark solves that problem, and at the same time, not only saves you money by reducing the time to get all of this done for your customers, but also how it makes you money. So joining me today is Mike Anderson. Hey, Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, Eric.
Yeah, no worries. Now, everybody should know that EasyDmark is a sponsor of All Things MSP. And so we're very proud and very happy to have them as a sponsor. I've actually used the product a little bit to manage the domains for All Things MSP. So I've had a great experience with it so far. So, Mike, introduce yourself and introduce EasyDmark for us.
Yeah, so I'm Mike Anderson. I'm in charge of our global channels organization. I've got a team that works for me all across the world, supporting the MSPs, the partners, the VARs, and the indirect channel. It's a very extensive network, and the care and feeding of all of those, the partner network. EasyDmark, just like the name says, it's solving for DMARC. It's a DMARC analytics platform that will give the user, whether it's an MSP or partner, visibility, command, and control of all of your sending domains as it relates to DMARC policy, what's compliant, what's good sources, what are bad sources, and how to clean everything up and manage it all in one platform.
Now, it also helps with SPF and DKIM, correct?
Yeah, that's part of the DMARC protocol, is the underlying alignment of SPF and DKIM, so that once you get those frameworks sorted out, what do you do with your DMARC policy once you have those things in place? And it's really built to protect against spoofing of a legitimate domain by having those mechanisms aligned and in place, and then putting a security policy, the DMARC policy, on top of it in order to limit access to your domain.
Right. So it's not just a single solution for DMARC. It's actually a solution that helps you with all of your email deliverability.
Yeah, it really does, because all the providers now are requiring DMARC compliance. And in order to achieve compliance, you must be in alignment first with the SPF and DKIM policy. And then once you set your DMARC policy eventually over to reject, that gives you that highest level of deliverability that the sending providers are looking for. And now ending up in the inbox, that's the holy grail of communication. If people can't see your communications, they can't interact with your business, and it makes it a lot harder.
And speaking of those email providers, two of them you guys have been focusing on a lot lately. That's Google and Yahoo.
Yeah, Google and Yahoo, they kicked this party off some months ago, announcing that they're going to go from optional to mandatory with DMARC compliance. Soon after, pretty much every other sending provider on the planet pretty much followed suit. Both first-party senders like AOL, Yahoo, Apple, Amazon, as well as many others. Microsoft has even signaled that they are going to ensure that DMARC policies must be in place. And then all third-party senders have now come out with their DMARC requirements. Your SendGrids, your HubSpots, and every other secondary and third-party senders. So this whole thing has been a complete boom to the business, a boon to the business. And as it relates to your MSP audience, it's certainly a new category that your MSPs can go chase for revenue, profitability, and customer stickiness because of these requirements.
And this is not just something, that for you sending email from your Google account or whatever. This applies, like you mentioned, to those third-party senders that you may use for your marketing.
Yeah, and so you're sending email from your domain, and maybe you're not using Google or Yahoo, but inbound email coming into those networks, they are requiring it to let it pass, and so no one can escape this. It's not optional for anyone. All third-party senders have now raised their standards to match this. There's just a new requirement. We used to do things 100 years ago like this. We now do them like this. This is no different. This is something that if you examine some of the financial components, it's estimated that 30 to 40% of a email provider's network is just overhead of fraud, spamming, and spoofing. And so now if you do the math on what, let's just say a Google spends on email infrastructure a year, let's just say it's a couple billion. Now do the math on what 30% overhead is in terms of dollars. And so if they can get rid of that and now resell that excess capacity, this is a dollar and cents play for the sending providers. They figured it out. They had the carrot out there for a long time. Hey, we want you to get on this program and get DMARC compliant. The carrot didn't work. Now we're at the stick.
Now comes the stick.
Everybody's forced to change.
So what does it mean for the small business client of an MSP if they don't have this DMARC configured?
Yeah, so many of your MSP clients are already seeing the consequences of not being DMARC compliant, and that means your email deliverability is now going down substantially. I talk to hundreds and hundreds of MSPs every single month, and they're already telling me even their small clients are already starting to see email deliverability issues. Small dentist office sending out 20 invoices, 10 of those are being rejected by Yahoo or Google, to send out to their end clients, which, consumers use a Google or a Yahoo account or AOL account. And now, if you're trying to bill your end customers on these consumer networks, it's going to be a big challenge. And so if your email can't get through, your invoicing can't get through, what's that going to do to your business? For MSPs clients, they count on you to be the IT expert. And so they're really leaning on you to be able to have, the foresight to put this solution in place to avoid these type of issues.
Yeah. And you pointed something out that I want to make very clear to the MSPs in the audience. And that is, this is not just about marketing emails. Okay. That may be the emails that they send out the most, but you mentioned invoices going out and invoices not being delivered. How many of us deliver invoices by email now rather than mail? How critical do you think that is?
Yeah, that's the lifeblood of any business is your finances. The business is going to run on its finances, and you only go so far as what you're taking in. Your general communication is going to have problems. Email marketing, you might as well throw that in the garbage. That has no chance of getting through and moving forward. Contracts, people, you're trying to do new business. Do you want your contracts stuck in spam or not being delivered? And then, of course, the death knell to any business is reduced, finances, income coming in, and most businesses can't afford that. A lot of small business run on razor thin margins financially every single month. And, to have those stunted in some way, they're going to really be looking to the MSP as to why this happened. And, quite frankly, turn it around. It's really good news, right? There's going to be more business. You can get in front of this with your customers, go solve it for them, and remove those barriers.
Okay. So we've talked about kind of the why everybody should be doing this. And one of the things I wanted to talk about right before we get into the product is how does this compare to cybersecurity? Because I think it does. And in my opinion, it's not just like cybersecurity. It's not set and forget. There is a monitoring and upkeep and reporting piece to this that makes it a valuable monthly recurring service.
Yeah. So we really use the analogy. It's like buying an alarm system, but not having a monitor, right? So if you live out in the country and somebody busts in your door and your alarm's going off, but nobody's monitoring it, nobody's coming. Nobody's coming to save your stuff. Same thing works for DMARC monitoring. People add new sources and forget to tell the MSP. Now they've just rejected all their new invoicing system or their new marketing system, or maybe a third-party provider has something that changes and needs to be readjusted. You're not getting those alerts. You're not monitoring for it. You don't know what's happening. So you can use the analogy or the real-world experiences to turn this in. You just can't set it and forget it. Because you never know when life dictates, change happens, and if you're not on top of that change, you or your customer can certainly pay the price.
Yeah, and you just made another really great point, because as an MSP, although we try and have control over DNS and mail configurations and all of that stuff, we don't always get it, right? So being able to monitor for those changes so that you're not surprised, and you can actually go to your client proactively and say, hey, somebody changed something and we need to go in and make sure this comes back into compliance, or it's not going to work the way you expected.
It happens all the time, especially with new website configurations. People use forms that then send emails. Somebody submitted a form and it emails you back. You get a new web design, a new configuration, a new DNS setting, and boom, you just brought all that down. If you're not monitoring it, you have no idea. You just wonder, why are we not getting any web form submissions? It's because all those emails are being blocked or quarantined for some reason, because you had the settings previously, but the new configuration changes never caught up because you weren't monitoring it. And as an MSP, I'm sure all your MSP viewers can relate to the things that I just said, that their customers do things all the time and forget to notify them. That can have real consequences in this case.
Yep, absolutely. So, Mike, do we want to show them a little bit what the product looks like?
Yeah, so the product for an MSP is going to be very simple, easy to read, reports, dashboards like you see here, analytics, simple click-through stuff. Your MSPs will be able to add their domains and then get reports that look something like this. They'll be able to see what's compliant, good sources that are aligned, what's non-compliant, good sources that are not aligned, and then where there's threats against their customers' domains. Under the compliant tab, this is going to be very simple. Of course, everything's aligned. You're going to see lots of green, lots of passing, lots of deliverability. You can check the configuration icon, see everything's configured. Not a lot to do here. This non-compliant tab is where MSPs need to really be paying attention, because this is where there'll be services work that needs to be done on potentially legitimate sources that need real configuration work. So if they sell services in the business, this is where they'll get the intelligence to sell services in our platform also. So you can see there's about 10 sources that need configured. So maybe you sell a 10-hour work agreement or configuration fees, whatever they call it. And so they can drill down and look at any of these reports. And of course, now, without being DMARC compliant, nobody's going to want to deliver your email, both first-party sources and third-party sources. And so you can see there's lots of deliverability failures, lots of alignment failures, misalignment. You got to get this fixed if you're an MSP for your customers. With our platform, we're going to help you do all that work. This little gear icon is going to show you what the sending source is. And there's over 1,600 sending sources in the platform. So chances are we've got a lot of your customer sources. And it'll tell you what the SPF and the DKIM status are. And you can see they're not configured. So what do? With our platform, we're going to give you a configuration guide link. Simply click on that, and it'll take you to a step-by-step process of exactly what you need to do to fix this source. Simply follow these instructions and put whatever it says to put into the DNS records. Save those DNS records. And like it says down here, congratulations, you just aligned this source. So what ends up happening is now all of these non-compliant sources that you see here, they all start moving over to compliant for your customers. So if you sell services in a business, which most MSPs do in some way, shape, or form, there's 10 hours of work here. With my platform, it's probably going to take you less than 2 hours of actual work. You can put 8 hours in your pocket as profit and then go on to the next domain or the next customer. And I'm pretty sure most MSPs on this call like profit. And so it's a very profitable services model, and you can really go to market with it. There is one other feature, this threat unknown feature. It's a very, very compelling feature. This will show your customers where there's threats against their domain from all over the world. This has a threat engine built into it. And so this is kind of unique. You can see an unknown sending source trying to send out 155,000 plus emails against our domain. And if you hover over this flag, you can see those are coming out of the Russian Federation, right? So somebody is literally trying to rip us off using our domain. Now you can see these emails are not being delivered because our policy is set to reject, which is what specifically DMARC is built for, so somebody can't spoof your domain. But this is a good thing to show your customers, especially when they ask the MSP, hey, why am I paying you all this extra money a month or in services fee? You can show them this and say, hey, look, you're at risk. Do you want us to defend you against this? Yes or no? Common sense is going to tell you they're going to say yes, just like they want you to protect an endpoint or firewalls or anything else. But since this is a new source, this will help you justify some of this new revenue.
Awesome. And I love the fact that it is such an easy to use and easy to navigate interface. That was one of my favorite things about it. And then the big thing for me and the big time savings here is you can go out and you can run a scan on a domain. You can find out, if it's SPF compliant or DKIM compliant, or you can check the DMARC, right? But none of those free sources are going to give you the solutions to be able to go fix those problems and fix them quickly. Easy DMARC gives you the ability to do all of that in one interface, because this is, Mike, a multi-tenant interface. So all of your customers are in here at one time, and it allows you to manage them very easily, very quickly.
Yeah, so it's really about enabling the MSP to solve for customers. And we know time is money in an MSP, and this certainly is going to shorten solution cycles by a great bit to save you that time so that you can make more money, do more with less. That's how an MSP makes money. And part of our program, we're going to give you, all of the technical aptitude, comprehensive implementation support. Your MSPs will get implementation training videos that'll show you how to use and install every single feature on the platform. The platform comes with comprehensive solution guides built in. They can click this little question mark icon right here. It'll tell them what this feature is. It'll give them a link to the video, best practices, additional information. They can click on some detailed guides if they want and really dive in. The program also comes with one-on-one engineering. So once they become a customer, they're going to have multiple video sessions, just like we're doing with engineers, to talk through what they don't understand and really get them up to speed so they know how to use the entire platform. And then it'll come with obviously ongoing technical support. Now, one of the things that your MSPs will like is that we also have marketing associated with this. Your MSPs will get access to a large marketing portal repository, and this always has information being updated and added to it, all kinds of different categories, so that your MSPs just have to have the contacts. We have the content. They can pull it down. They don't have to think about it. This is just one less thing they have to think about to be able to go to market and make some money. We do email marketing support with them, social media marketing support, event support, and we even pay for a press release. And if your customers do need it and your watchers need it, we also have some monetization strategies, best of breed. We've interviewed hundreds of MSPs to come up with different categories and different formulas. If they wanted to refer to information like this, we have it all built in for their use.
And that's one of the things I really like about your program, because it's not just a solution. You're not just selling a solution. You're selling a program for MSPs to be able to not just solve this problem for their client, but also make it a revenue source, a new revenue source, a valid revenue source. We're not adding on some kind of vaporware here. This is something that your clients absolutely 100% need, because email deliverability is no longer optional. It is absolutely critical because it's how everybody does business today.
Yeah, solving for DMARC, doesn't sound that great, but making a lot of money solving for DMARC. Now I know how I have your viewers' attention, especially the MSPs. And we know why MSPs are in the business. They're in the business just like the rest of us, to make some money, solving IT problems, being the IT mechanics for their customers. And so now this is a new category. Like you said, it used to be optional. It's no longer optional. So this is a new category again, just like firewall or endpoint protection or some of the other services that your MSPs offer. Good news for all of us. Those Google, Yahoo announcements about 6 months back really, put this on the map, and it's full speed ahead now.
Well, and at this point, you probably have clients who are asking you why their emails aren't getting delivered, and now you have an answer.
Yeah, and I literally, we have about 1,000 MSPs on the program, and we're growing by hundreds every single month. And I speak to hundreds and hundreds of MSPs every single month. And, they all say this, they're all pretty much saying the same things. My customer is already suffering the consequences. What do I do? And I tell them the same thing: get on the program and solve for it as soon as possible. The sooner you get it solved, the sooner those problems clear off of your solutions board.
Yep. And because this is live and it's going to live on YouTube, we don't want to talk about pricing, but I will say that, I know what the pricing is. I know what the entry level is, and it is so low, you cannot afford to not do this.
Yeah, and we removed all barriers. And when I helped build this program about 16 months ago, the business obviously had the platform, and we put some different frameworks around it and really enabled some of the programs that you see here: the marketing and the sales enablement and the training and support, to really enable the MSP to go make some money. But it's definitely, we've removed the barriers to entry, and this is a scale play. Let's be honest. If you start off with our minimum 10 domains, nobody's getting rich on that. You're not paying the mortgage on that. But once you get to 100, 300, 700 and above, like many of our MSPs, you're going to make substantial profit to your bottom line. And let's be clear, those numbers are out there because every single sending domain on the planet, bar none, have to be DMARC compliant now. And so customers and businesses that would have traditionally never used an MSP will be calling MSPs now because they don't know how to solve for DMARC on their own.
Now, I've got a question from the audience about, deliverability and approaching a new client about this. Now, in my opinion, Mike, I think what I would probably say in approaching a new client is, do you want your invoices delivered or not? And do you want to know if they're being delivered now? Do you want to know if they stop being delivered just for, weird reasons? I mean, what else are you seeing out there in terms of what MSPs are doing, what the conversations are that they're having as they're approaching these clients about DMARC compliance?
Yeah, so our platform actually has a domain scanner built into it, and this is a very compelling services argument for prospecting. And so, I can type in anything, n1.com, and scan it, and it's going to come back with a report. And so when you see a report that looks something like this, lots of red and a very low score, you should be thinking conversation with whoever owns this domain. You can literally export this report if you're on our platform, and you can embed this feature in your website. So if you want to use it as a lead generation tool, you can certainly do that. Most MSPs are starting to do that now. They're already on your website. They check their score. They see those reds. They freak out. They instantly email you and say, "Hey, I need help." But simple, compelling information like this, data that says, you're at risk for 2 reasons: potential fraud, you should protect against that above all else, and then trying to run your business without being DMARC compliant from an email and communications perspective. That's not going to happen. You're going to have major problems with deliverability, you know, and just frame it as a casual conversation. Hey, I'm a DMARC expert as an MSP. I can help you solve for this. Let's just have a conversation.
Now, what if you, because this kind of correlates with that question, after you've approached them, after they've signed up, I imagine that there's probably something that you want to present, something that you want to talk to them about when you're doing, let's not call them quarterly business reviews, because we all know that they're not done quarterly every time. But when you're doing business reviews with your clients, what reports should they be using? What should they be showing to those clients?
Yeah, and so, you know, to me, there's two times to show a report. Once when you first put the domain in and you're doing the discovery, and you see a lot of this red non-compliant, right? You can export these reports, and I'll show you that. But when everything's red and there's a lot of work to be done, you should be showing the customer. Now, this is a manual report, but you can automate this report to go out daily, weekly, or monthly. And so you should be showing your customer the report, especially early on, like we saw that surface domain scan. You can send them these type of reports. These are also white label capable, but this gives you a summary. Early on, there's going to be a lot of red in here. You know, this is some demo information, but typically when you first start it, there's going to be a lot of things out of compliance. So you're going to see a lot of non-compliant stuff, and you should tell the customer, hey, this is where we need to pay attention, where there's work to be done. And then, of course, you know, a couple months later, once you solve for DMARC and you've got everything aligned and locked down and it's good to go and you're seeing all this green, feel free to send them this report again and say, hey, look at all the good work we did. You're all set. We're going to be watching this ongoing. So all of that's built into the platform. Again, the program's very MSP centric from the setup down here. And I really won't go through how the sausage is made, but like you mentioned, it's multi-tenant, multi-user, reporting, alerting, everything you need to run the business from an MSP perspective.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that I liked about it too, is a lot of the reports are automated so that you can set them up to happen according to your schedule, and you don't have to pay somebody to go in, run these reports, put them in as part of your QBR. Now, what you just showed, I think, is probably really important in terms of the onboarding process, because you should run that report once before the onboarding process begins, and then again once the onboarding process is finished, so you can show them the difference between the two.
Yeah, that really makes a difference. People respond to visualization and visuals. So this is definitely a good report to show them after you've, completed the early domain scanner phase where you don't maybe necessarily have DNS access. You haven't done the deep discovery, but once you do that, you get that report, export it to them. That gets the conversation going. They say this is worth a deep dive. They give you access to DNS, and then you see these type of compliance reports where you really get what's going on in detail. Send them that report, have a discussion. These are cold, hard facts. They have to get this stuff done no matter what they believe. And so it's like taking your car to a mechanic. You know, he's going to give you an estimate. He's not going to do the work for free. Even if you're paying a monthly payment on your, on your auto loan, he doesn't care about that. It still has to be fixed and it still has to be paid for. So, many of your MSP watchers, viewers can equate it to that similar model. To correct this stuff is real man hours that they can charge their customers for.
Awesome. Now, what does onboarding look like for an MSP who wants to get involved with Easy DMARC? Yeah,
so onboarding is going to be very simple. We're going to put things like we put in your inbox, Eric, installation training guides, trial links so you can get on and try the platform for a couple of weeks. We'll provide installation training videos, installation training guides, feature guides, knowledge-based articles, everything the MSP needs to learn how to self-actuate, self-train, self-learn, get up to speed and use the platform. After 2 weeks, if you want to convert it, it's very simple. You'll simply come up here in the upper right of the platform, click on your avatar, plans and billing and payment information, and then throw in your billing address, save it, card details, save it. You'll contact one of the members of the staff, either myself or someone on my team, whoever you're working with at the time. They'll convert your plan, and it kicks off an automated onboarding process. And we've got this down to a science. So we have an onboarding team that will get with the MSP, reach out to them, set up some onboarding conversations, see what you need from an MSP perspective. Are you ready to go? Do you need more training? If so, we'll get you on with the engineers, sort out whatever additional questions you have or don't understand, so you know how to use the platform extensively, and then give you access to the marketing portal and repository. We even have MSP marketing specialists on staff that can help you create some custom configurations and content, and really show you how to use the marketing portal to build campaigns to send to your customers. They'll maintain communication with you for the life of your residency. They're on my team. They know what they're doing. They're very experienced, and they'll make you as successful as you want to be, and you're off and going, making some money.
So if I heard you correctly, then they can actually sign up for a trial and use it before they commit to it.
That's right. Yeah, our trial is on our website. So if you want to go to easydmark.com, look at the different /MSP, you can contact us. You can sign up for a free trial, do whatever you want. Explains what the program is, what all comes with it, and we'll give you more information once you reach out to us.
Awesome. So, Mike, anything that before we sign off that you think these MSPs need to know about EasyDMark?
Yeah, so one of the things I hear consistently is we're easiest to use, one of the best pricing strategies out there, very simple, very intuitive, an overall program that's really MSP and service provider focused. Other platforms may have their features and check a couple boxes, but we check most of the boxes across the board for a complete program. And the one thing I would caution MSPs who don't think this is needed, I would strongly caution against that attitude. You're going to find out your customers are going to pay you now, or they're going to pay you later, but they're going to pay you either way, because this has to be done. It's mandatory. And so some people haven't quite gotten the message yet, and have had to come back, sometime later and say, hey, we hear you loud and clear now. This has to be done.
Yeah. And if you're not sure, like if you're a medium-sized MSP and you don't know how much of a problem this is for you because you're not in the day-to-day weeds anymore, pull a report from your PSA or your ticketing system. Find out how many of your tickets are being generated because of undeliverable email. And that'll give you the answer right there.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Mike. So if anybody wants to get a hold of you, how do they find you?
They can email me at mike@easydmark.us, mike@easydmark.us, and they can certainly go to our easydmark.com page, go to the MSP section, contact us, and it'll get routed to myself or some of my reps on the team. We'll take good care of you and get you all set up.
Awesome. Great information, Mike. Thank you for coming on and doing this. And thanks to EasyDMark for being a sponsor of All Things MSP.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Have a great day.
Thank you.